Just like that, I'm pulling in, look at some rain. Bring it back.
How about a hand for our sound and our light crew tonight, making it sound good tonight?
Thank you so much.
Las Vegas, thank you guys so fucking much. I also want to give a quick shout out to F1 and T-Mobile for putting all of this together. And I wanted to thank you guys so much for finding your way here to party with me. I want to wish you guys an amazing weekend, an amazing race for all of us. And Vegas, I love you so much once again. Thank you so much for showing up.
It's pretty cold. Hi everybody, I'm freezing here. Go ahead and hit like, subscribe. I'm gonna
microphone or a lighter, could I please ask you guys to raise your stars up high for me, all the way to the very back. Lights up, lights up!
Yeah, it's starting to rain, so I don't know how they're gonna do the track's not gonna win right now.
Sit! You!
Alright guys, it's pretty cold out here. The rain has let up just a little bit. It's not sprinkling as bad. It is just
Adam, that felt like a religious experience. Zed just took us to church. We had the stained glass and all the rain, but it didn't kill the vibe at all. The fans just seem to be loving it.
There's something about Vegas where I don't think anything rain, sleet, or snow, not that they get that here, is going to stop anybody, but maybe for us back home. Obviously, jokes aside from everybody, we hope you guys are having a fantastic time and keeping that energy up. But we got to talk about the rain. I don't think we can beat around the bush. It is going to be something of concern for a lot of people. Even though the energy is high for the racers, this is not the first time they've been exposed to this. They should be familiar with the conditions, although every time is different. So a lot of things there. But we're going to keep the energy going for you guys. I cannot be happier enough to send it to this one. DJ Joe Green, our very own from Vegas, is going to be keeping it down. Let's go to him in the truck.
in the groove and ready to move here as the Formula One World Championship cars take to this 3.8-mile circuit through the heart of Las Vegas, entertainment capital of the world. This is free practice 2. Glad to have you all with us out there. Hope everyone's having a good time. We've been watching you. It appears to us that you definitely are.
There we go.
There is Lewis Hamilton
Woo!
in the office
Yay!
of his Ferrari.
Yes!
I'm Bob Varsha, alongside Jonathan Green and Connor Daly. Once again, drivers were all tucked in. Looks like they're ready to go, and we certainly are.
Yeah, and I don't need to tell you out there, in the last 20 minutes, we've had a little shower. And Connor, you made a good statement a moment ago before we went to air, which is, it's an annoying amount.
Yeah, it's just enough to not put on the rain tires, but enough to be annoying and make you sit in the pit lane probably for a little bit. So we'll see what happens here. Hopefully it dries out, hopefully the rain goes away, and everyone can get out there and get to work.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. And it's also very cold out there, so the rain, cold rain is, it couldn't be worse.
Even better, right.
For these slick tires.
Weatherman tells us it's 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not sure I'm buying it.
You're not buying it.
No.
What did we learn then from free practice 1? I was impressed with McLaren's, to be honest. We talked a lot about him, and there's been a lot of talk pre-race that this is a terrible circuit for them, and they haven't performed well here. They've not ever had the window. We saw last year Lando struggle. He was asked about it in the press conference. He believes that things will be better this time, but we shall see. Free practice 1 doesn't give you a full indication, but they were 6th and 7th, so and they were ahead of the Mercedes. Whether it means anything, we'll see.
It's an interesting measure of 2025 car performance or performance improvement from the Hungarian Grand Prix at Budapest through Singapore. And that includes the 4-week summer break. No question, McLaren has achieved the greatest improvement over the team whose company makes the engines for McLaren, or McLaren Mercedes. The factory boys have got some ground to make up.
Yeah, I wonder if Alpine are thinking, look what happened to McLaren when they finally changed engines and how the trajectory changed for them. I mean, it's never down to just the engine, but yeah, it's a useful power plant to have, especially when you're beating the factory team.
We saw an interesting interview earlier on from the Heineken stage.
Yeah.
Offered his admiration for the crew at McLaren, and I'd have to agree with that. People have been working extra hard. They're not afraid to stick their necks out and try something. Sometimes it doesn't work, but boy, oh boy, when it does, just ask Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris.
And the reason why you see all the drivers sitting for right now, obviously the session's green, you can go out whenever you want, but if you look at the forecast for the rest of the weekend, the conditions look okay, right? It should be dry for the race, and so there's no sense if the track is in a bit of a sketchy position, you don't want to waste tires, you don't want to potentially risk anything on the car unless the track is in fully, usable and beneficial conditions for qualifying tomorrow or the race. So that's why I think everyone is just, holding pattern right now and in the pit lane and waiting for it to just be fully dry before they go out and get to work.
Yeah, you just don't want to be a glamorous cleaner for everybody else.
Exactly, yeah.
If you missed free practice 1, Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, a 134.8 was the fastest. He did 29 laps. Alexander Albon in the Williams was the second fastest, and Yuki Tsunoda, another surprise for me anyway, was third fastest for Red Bull Racing. Did 27 laps and was faster than his teammate Max Verstappen, who was right behind, who did 24 laps, and behind him, in 5th place, Carlos Sainz. Then comes Lando Norris 6th, Isaac Hadjar 7th, and Oscar Piastri in 8th.
Checking that time for Charles Leclerc, 1:34.876. So officially, he is under the race lap record, but as I explained earlier, that doesn't count in this context. It has to be in the race. But if he can repeat it, he can do some damage. And then it was quiet.
Yes, calm before the storm.
Too quiet.
Life goes on, as you can see. The
There we go.
traffic's still going out, but finally we got our own traffic because we're going to create some now.
And out
Here they
here,
come.
here comes Mercedes.
The universal decision to get things going. I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
They've all got the same weather, folks. They're all looking at the same track information.
Right.
And as you say, there's no need, given that the rain has stopped, to think about doing anything else. It's going to be a dry line within seconds, isn't it?
Exactly, and it does take a lot of rain to actually create, for the water to actually seep into the pavement. So it should just be a small surface drying, and it'll be dry as soon as they do a lap.
It's exciting. You hear the roar, you hear the drones, and the helicopters. And you can smell these vehicles, you smell tires.
7 cars currently on track. Gasly, Russell, Colapinto, Ocon, Lawson, Behrman, and Hadjar. Gaze into the eyes of Oscar Piastri.
Here they come.
Another unique Vegas helmet paint scheme here for George Russell.
George Russell.
Not sure what the theme is, but got track strike on as always.
Visor looks a little foggy.
Track temperature's risen a bit, winds picked up just slightly, humidity at 57%, and air temperature 13.7.
We look at the pit exit there. One thing that I think everyone has to remember is when you put on brand new tires, that pit exit is quite slow, and there's not a lot of downforce being produced at that speed, and so it could actually be more difficult than you think to get out of the pit exit without crossing over that white line, which is obviously then a penalty if you happen to try to carry too much speed on that pit exit.
And it's tight. It's easy to make a mistake.
Absolutely. I definitely don't think it's good, because that is a big safety hazard. Obviously, there are going to be cars on track there, so they have that line there for safety reasons, and the drivers have to stay below it and inside the pit lane before they get to the pit lane exit.
There's some nice touches that you may not see depending on, hang on one sec, track is a bit slippery. Well, we know that, Ollie.
It's not going to feel great.
No, but there's some nice touches to this Vegas circuit, like on the exit of 2, the rumble strips are actually dice. Yeah, just little touches.
Russell's on a good lap, purple in sector 2. He's long had the nickname Mr. Saturday because of his qualifying prowess. In fact, this year, he's only qualified outside the top 6 once.
Wow, very impressive.
And as you'll see once again, they'll try to create space for themselves.
Looks like the 2 Ferraris are running nose to tail.
They set the tracks a
There they are.
slippery, so
Is this a bit of a simulation where we might have one car lead the other around and help on the straights? A lot of that teamwork in Formula 1.
How much of it takes place at Indy? Every man for himself, right?
We are independent.
Yep,
Well, that's the nature of the sport too. The cars are so much more similar, right?
absolutely.
I thought this qualifies as a qualifying rehearsal, if you will. In front of his teammate Leclerc, he's got the medium compound tires on.
And he's still running there as you see he's swirling the straights using some brake heat.
Of course, the one thing we never know during qualifying, which is the search for the ultimate lap time, and all sorts of things are done to the car. It's a completely different session than an actual qualifying session. And we never know what fuel load these cars are on, and that's a big deal because a Formula One car ready to race will have 100 kilograms of fuel aboard, about 220 pounds.
Well, there's a question. When you're trying to learn both the track, the setup, you mentioned a lot about the units of the car and how to get the best grip. What kind of fuel loads do you want to run so that you can get information and use it rather than have different fuel loads and then not really know where you are?
Well, I mean, honestly, it's a great question. Fuel load, very, very heavy. It's a different race car than light and nimble and absolute limit of speed. So that's why they do so many runs on the heavy fuel load, because if anything, you have to be prepared for the heavy fuel load and for qualifying when you've got all the weight out of the car possible. But it's funny because that's the only thing, well, a lot of things you can't see, but the fuel load is something you always just truly can question. So that's really good. Yeah, until you get to qualifying where you know, all right, this is maximum attack, low on fuel, and we're going to do everything we can to be the best. But these sessions, there could be some teams that are like, we'll put an extra bit of weight in there. They're just not show our hand quite yet.
Of course, the rules state that you must go to scrutineering with at least 1 liter of fuel still for analysis.
Well, first time I've said this, Cole Pinto at the top of the times. 137.7 by the Argentinian.
I'm watching Leclerc's helmet as it bounces up and down. How rough it is out there.
And you can see already a much more aggressive stance than some of the P1 onboards.
2 green sectors for Leclerc, but behind lurks the Wolf. Magic Max Verstappen, who was purple in Sector 1.
If you can hear the audio of Charles there, he's even short shifting a little bit to try to prevent some rear traction loss, I would say, and that's usually helpful to get the
Calling the Wolf, well, he's the wolf in sheep's clothing because he said, I'm not bothered about the title, I'm not interested in that, I'm just going to take it one at a time. They fear him, they know what he can do from anywhere on the grid. Plenty of overtaking can happen, so I don't think Verstappen really cares too much where he qualifies. Showing us he can do it from anywhere.
Hey, get ready, here he comes, below way.
Good lap for Max there, good toe as well. Only a 10th quicker than George Russell though, currently.
Lando deciding it's time to go. 15 minutes into the session. What do you think about the internal mental battle between these two, Norris and Piastri?
I personally think it's a little bit more grown up than it actually is. I mean, at the end of the day, racing is hard, no matter what car, no matter what team you're in. And you can have some things not go your way. Right? There are some things that I think Oscar Piastri, and it's not that there's just been some difficult situations, some penalties. Now, I don't know if I'm fully in on some of the penalties, but especially Brazil. But you know, at the end of the day, they're 2 of the best drivers in the world. So the team that has, for the most part, had the fastest car all year long, and they've got a chance to both go for the world championship. So no matter what driver, no matter who you are, and you know, depending on the day, depending on the weekend, they've just got to get the best out of their car, and they've got to work with their teams individually to try to figure out how they can go for the most points per weekend to finish off this year. And it's going to be close, and there's going to be more moments between now and the end of the season where we see them, you know, duking it out for the win.
Yeah, everybody's been told that you don't forget how to be a racing car driver.
Oscar has absolutely not forgot.
So close to that. Okay, Hamilton almost a half second under current leader Kimi Antonelli. Flashing hands. Lewis has flushed them more than anybody. Oh, what a place to catch another car.
He's a bit too quick there. I'm sure he's a little bit upset about that one.
But he is at the top by almost 2/10. The 135.3 over Antonelli.
Big backup here. Almost going to go stop. Yeah, down the back straight. Oh no, that's the sector one. How quickly, I mean, how long can you do that? I mean, when do the tires start to cool? When you're waiting literally for he was getting ready to start a lap, so usually you can probably take a couple seconds at the end of that warm-up lap to be okay, but realistically you'd like to not wait. Yeah. It's much better to kind of keep your flow going, keep things going a little bit quicker than having to come to a stop.
Long wait for Lando Norris to put himself into the position he finds himself in right now, leading with just a couple of races remaining on the season toward a possible first world championship.
Yeah, again, I referenced the press conference. He was asked about whether he has time to be at the moment, and he said it's very hard. He is enjoying it. It is his 150th Grand Prix. He's very proud of that. He worked all his life to get to that point. Does he enjoy it? Yes, but it's hard because you're constantly living in that bubble, and it's a lot to actually enjoy it as you're doing it, and I get that.
Yeah. So a lot of championship winning athletes can say that.
Yeah. And you're so worried that there's chances, other sports it could be an injury, you don't know what the future holds for when you're at the top of your game.
And we saw Lando there, he wasn't happy with that lap, so he backed off basically to the next lap and just work on more keeping him real.
There you go, from 200 miles an hour down to cornering speed in about 75 meters. So young drivers always say when they get a taste of Formula One technology, the amazing thing is not how fast they go, but how fast they stop.
Super nimble cars as well.
Oops.
I think you found the limit there.
People too fast.
That was very dangerous.
So the entire field bar one, and that's Bortoletto who just went wide on the medium tyre. Bortoletto on the Russell, sector 1, Lando Norris, sector 2, and Oscar Piastri, sector 3.
That was the third time that George Russell has rotated up into P1. Right now, it's Oscar Piastri, followed by Lewis Hamilton, and then George. He used to have a
1-2 after both of those laps, but George Russell yet again absolutely fantastic lap right now.
Yeah, particularly the first sector, he's been fastest, well, he's now fastest in the first 2 sectors, so this should complete that. And it does. 1:34.4 he sets.
The Mercedes once again showing they've got great speed here.
Considered a cold weather car.
Yeah. I don't know how that works,
I'll turn the temperature down a bit.
Given the incredibly microscopic tolerances of Formula One machinery, it wouldn't take much to throw off the
reading an article about how Helmut Marko, a racer himself, if you don't know, but back in the 70s, he was a world-class driver, took on the very best in his day, but he was very admiring of what he calls a pure racer in Verstappen, and what he meant by that was as soon as Max is done today, he'll probably get on a sim somewhere, or be checking where his sim team is, or planning his next journey into GTs, and, you know, race, it's all about racing. But then again, when you're the it makes perfect sense.
It's a little surprising, to me at least, to see Verstappen, after trying hard.
Sure. And a good 6/10 so far.
Yeah, that's even more surprising. That's an eternity by Formula One standards.
Absolutely. And, you know, Max's teammate Yuki Tsunoda right with him as well.
Yeah,
the same,
yeah.
almost the same 10th.
Joe Gasly, second place for Gasly.
Big gap for him.
Yep.
Here's one of those guys who has shown bursts of brilliance. Oh, it's a Hamilton impersonator.
He's got the smile, I'll give him that. So, 1 and 2 at the moment for Mercedes. They topped the times in every session last year here. Or George Russell did.
Yeah.
Lando Norris on a big one as well as we go on board. There you go. Norris is first sector fastest so far. We're on board with Hamilton. He's getting his fastest lap in as well. Let's keep an eye on what Norris does in the second sector versus Russell's 58.2. Norris is up by 0.2.
This session, everyone just slowly trying to dial their cars in, make adjustments every time they're in the pit box, go out there and just keep pushing to try to fly.
Great last sector by Hamilton, puts him to the top. 1.127. Now we're getting into some tasty laps.
Traffic getting out of the way of Lando there, which is I'm sure he's very happy about.
Well, he's on a good lap too.
Breaking into the 33s now.
Yeah, Lando's second sector, 1.4, so flying at the moment. Let's see how he completes this, and he does it well. Into the 33s for a first. This weekend, 33.943 for Norris. To reply by the looks of him. Albon was second quickest in for free practice one. So we'll keep an eye on him. He's trying to
He really does have some pace. They've done a lot of the time at the front of both these sessions. There's the Max Verstappen we know.
The
The top three. Now, a lot of this work being done on the medium tire, so
yeah.
Remember, we still will see that red sidewall softer tire when we get into the qualifying phase.
I think we've only seen 1 or 2 cars do some testing on the hard compound.
You might have race that. If you don't already, Jack Crawford will be doing an FP1 and the driver test season.
That's Jack Crawford of Houston, Texas.
Aston Martin.
Aston Martin reserve driver.
Wednesday. I told him I was quite happy. He gave him the stars and stripes for us, and a Formula One car is always awesome to see.
How's he feeling?
I mean, he's pumped. Yeah, Americans. I mean, I'm pumped too. American driver, you know, I love seeing fellow Americans get in the Formula One cars. I think it's just great for the sport in general.
Yeah, I agree.
The schedule for one of the two this year, but there is this huge gap.
Yeah, I know.
At the end of the season.
Yeah.
Fun to see Formula 2 cars.
Yeah, I think somehow make that happen.
This part of the track reminds me of Le Mans.
Yeah.
Plant your right foot and don't lift it.
We got a couple cars in the pit right now.
Charles Leclerc on a good lap for him at the moment.
All right.
To the top, and he goes to the top, yeah.
Turn back around.
0.180 at the moment.
There's the future Mrs.
This is
Leclerc.
Leclerc. Alexandra Saint-Louis. Announced their engagement just last month.
You saw both front tires just immediately smoke. That's because the driver, you try to take advantage of that brake zone with the initial stab of that pedal, right? You're producing the most downforce, the most grip on the brakes will be that first stab. And so if you can get away with hitting it as hard as possible without locking, that's what you want to do. But there is a limit to that, and I'll go there and found it.
And Connor, you can attest to this. Unless you've been a racing driver, you don't know this. You are, and the expression stomping on the brake, you are putting as much force as you possibly can, right?
Absolutely, yeah. When you're producing the most downforce, you'd be blown away with how hard you can hit the brake pedal, because that's the most efficient technique. If you're producing all that downforce, you can get a ton of stopping power out of the car. But then, as you slow down, consider yourself losing downforce. That means you also have to reduce the brake pressure. So it's a very fine art. That as young drivers, you almost go to training sessions purely to become more efficient brakers.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of brake pressure too. I mean, 500 pounds or more of brake pressure?
Well over that, I think. Yeah, over 1,000 PSI. Certainly in the IndyCar stuff, we're well over 1,200 PSI pressure.
Really?
Yes.
I talked to a female Trans Am driver once, and she was, I think, 5'1". She was tiny, and she said that she would go through a set of boots just stomping on the brake because she just was having to really lunge her feet to stop the car.
Well, I see, that looks like a little flow viz.
Yeah.
On the Racing Bull. That's that green, I guess it's called paint, but though it sticks to the car, it moves and it smears, if you will, with the passage of air. There it is.
Yeah.
That might just be the Cash App logo. I don't know.
You might be right. But yeah, it says what it does on the box. Flow viz. It shows you visibility of the flow of air.
Yeah, come in and analyze the smear.
Dave Lawson also on the red sidewall soft tire, so we'll be curious to see what kind of pace he's got.
Well, he and Hadjar are both opted for that now. And in fact, Lawson's on a good lap right now. One of Liam Lawson's best mates growing up is here this weekend. Caleb Nato from his home of New Zealand. They grew up racing together, and they keep in touch and share their racing stories.
The way the light glistens off that car, it's really cool, honestly.
Yeah, it's very cool.
There's a lot of grandstands all around me.
No triple separation. He's doing a personal best lap.
Yeah.
Kind of sitting on the edge. So so that we can get the corner turn.
Solid
here.
lap for Liam there.
Very, yeah.
Me too. Very good.
There's a couple 100,000 people here. believe it or not.
So some of these teams and drivers are finding the answers to the questions.
And that's Liam Dawson's partner from California.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
A lot of cars are
Isaac.
getting their tires changed right now,
Whee.
so we should see them start back up in a second.
Widely rumored to be Max Verstappen's future teammate.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how he gets on if that does happen.
That was a brutal walk up there for the soft tire. Ooh, that's going to be an unfriendly flat spot potentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if the drivers are being lured into it by that slight rise up into the corner. You think, well, I don't have to brake quite as hard because the track goes uphill.
Yeah, maybe.
Makes it easier to get it wrong, I suppose.
The cars are so trimmed out though as well that brake zones become very difficult the more drag you take.
So half the field in, half the field out, and those who are out are pretty much on the soft tyres. Oh well, no, most have been on the mediums, and we've got the two RBs on the softer tyre. And that softer tyre did take Lawson to second overall.
So it doesn't look like you went too late unless you know what happens. We're checking the lines.
Oh, cool. I was hoping you were He's usually got some great messages.
No clue.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It gets exciting. Yes, we talk about the physical effort required, the pure athleticism of these drivers, and yet they sound like, you know, they're looking for their pencil or something. So calmly when you're working so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys train like some of the most elite athletes in the world, and motorsport is without a doubt the most underrated sport physically that there is out there, but we can't tell anyone to go out and drive at 220 miles an hour and try to take a corner at that speed. Whereas I can go outside and play football and know that I'm not going to play in the NFL.
Whoa!
Very true. Oh, wow.
Very dangerous. Ooh.
Going backwards in the Formula One circuit, not a good move.
No, sir.
If you ever have to engage reverse, you know things have gone wrong.
Yeah, something like that. So Charlie getting a little bit wayward, but he is top of the times. What happened here then?
A little too much curb.
Wow, just never got to the apex he wanted to get to.
It was almost like a missed shift or something.
Quickly becoming not so fabulous last time.
With these street circuits, because of how low grip they are, if you get offline by just a little bit, I mean, you're completely gone. You just saw it there. It almost looked like he hit water, but that's how slick it is offline.
So a lot more is choosing the soft now, so we should see the time drop some more. We've been watching it. He looks as though he's putting in a personal best, trying to chase down his teammate. Winding his way through the traffic. Second quickest here in FP2, just ahead of his teammate. Good lap. The RBs are on the case with their new livery.
Hajar and Lawson separated by 1/100 of a second.
Well, they're not going to sneak up on anybody this weekend.
Yeah.
Ooh, little close there. close as you can be.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Purple sector 1 to Williams.
Yeah.
Oh, he will not be happy with that.
No.
He will not be happy with that. I'm actually upset about that. That was a shame. It was a shame to see. I wanted to see.
Yeah, he was on it.
Come on. There's going to be some hand gestures.
I think so. There's some maybe some Spanish flair about to take place.
Universal number ones. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think I've ever seen so many white flags. They really started using those instead of move over flags.
Well, the white flag indicates just a slow car is ahead. So,
Right.
so I think that because of how blind this track is, I would say, I think they're going to be a little bit more on the cautious side to help the drivers just kind of it's actually really helpful on street surface to have that type of flag. Will be in this race next year.
Yeah. Valtteri Bottas.
Incredible mustache as always.
Yeah. He cut his hair. I really kind of was digging that. Yeah, mullet. Yeah.
Yeah, but he recently said if you had to lose one, which would it be? And he said the mustache, not the mullet.
What can I tell you?
Okay.
You know.
This was definitely
That's too much.
some words exchanged there.
Yeah. Poor old Carlos, he doesn't get poor old he doesn't get forgotten sometimes. Rub of the green.
He's getting a decent toe there, but the last sector, not a purple sector, but still fastest overall.
Yeah. Hulkenberg does what Hulkenberg does, which is show himself to be very quick in that kick out, but early days, but it often doesn't lead to a necessarily brilliant qualifying, but he's always quick in these free practices.
What?
Are you surprised to see Fernando that far ahead? He's shown, we've hardly spoken about him.
I am. I don't even think we've seen him on camera once so far. So
I've seen Stroll go off and he's in 11th currently. We know this isn't a great track for Aston Martin.
Is there a great track for the Aston Martin?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, fair point.
Wasn't sure if I could get away with that one.
Not been an easy season. Yeah. George Russell really strong in the first sector, not late in the second sector. Smart enough to lead all the way.
A lot of squirming around on that red tire.
Starting to push on now. Another good sector is sector 2 for Russell. Chasing down Norris.
Red flag. Ooh.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the sort of track guide of who's out there, but I don't see anybody stopped. Or do I? Turn 5 maybe. No? Everybody's moving. Let's find out. Somebody's gone off.
Well, somebody may have hit the wall and started shedding parts, and they
Yeah, good point. We'll soon find out.
neutralized. Toto Wolff looks concerned, but that's kind of his default expression.
Yeah, there's definitely some consternation down at Mercedes. So one of the Mercedes has got himself in trouble. It could well be Antonelli because he was just about to complete his lap. All will be revealed.
all the cars that have come into the pit lane in front of our commentary box here seem to have all the pieces attached to them, so that's great. Sometimes red flags stick around during practice, so there's a timing issue, there's lots of timelines around the track, something like that.
Yeah, and usually our coverage goes straight to the incident. We've got pretty much wall-to-wall coverage. So, red flag situation, P2, just under 20 minutes left, and it's Norris, Antonelli, and Leclerc, the top three. Hulkenberg 4, Hadjar, Lawson, Russell, Albon, Verstappen, and Hamilton, your top 10.
Well, there's the man we've been looking for, Fernando Alonso.
There he is. 424 races, it's just...
It's mind-boggling.
Isn't it?
Just consider guys like, Fangio did 51.
Yeah.
Jackie Stewart did 99. Reaching. A career of 200 used to be unthinkable. And then Fred just keeps on trucking. Okay, while we have a red flag out and the race is neutralized while the track workers go to work, we'll take an opportunity for some tunes.
What's up, F1 fans? It is Adam and Katie up here on the paddock rooftop. Obviously a little bit delayed here in practice too, but we're going to keep the fun going right now. Adam, I want to do an overall recap on your day so far. There's been a lot of action out here on the track and in the zones. Tell us the highlights.
She's asking a lot. There's been a lot of things that we've been doing. Obviously, shout out to T-Mobile, 5G technology. We've been over all this whole place, sights and sounds, upstairs, downstairs, East Harmon, West Harmon, Sphere. It's been kind of nuts. Favorite part so far, honestly, I think the magic on the stage, I think kind of steals the cake. We got to see up close and personal. Still have no idea how it's done. They revealed like a banner with a bunch of numbers after doing a calculator. I kind of got lost, not gonna lie, but so did everybody else. So
That's magic. You're not supposed to know. That's the fun part. I agree. We've had a lot of great entertainers out here gracing us with their presence on all of our different stages. I've just enjoyed seeing the cars out on the track for the first time, especially with F1 Academy. That was a ton of fun. Personally, I did a little bit of shopping. I got all of my Hello Kitty F1 Academy merch. So I'm good to go. I'm set for the rest of the weekend.
All right, guys, we're going to keep you guys up to date the best we can. As we hear more, don't be worried. We'll keep you guys in the loop as well with some tunes and some music to keep the energy going. So again, stay tuned. We'll keep you up to date.
And with a roar of engines, the field heads back to the racetrack. After a brief stoppage,
Everyone.
Pinto in the Alpine.
Everyone will be looking to get out here. Obviously, a giant line of car in pit lane. I mean, this is going to be chaotic. People are going to be angry at each other, and that's exactly what we want to see.
Yeah, we're digging that.
Yep, just 6.5 minutes to go as everybody perches for a view with their phones to get a shot of the 20 best drivers in the world. Session will start in 40 seconds, so we really will have 6 minutes exactly. And that ain't a lot of time, given what your first warm-up lap will be, what, 3 minutes?
Yeah, this is going to be a warm-up shootout, essentially.
Basically, yeah. What can you learn? I mean, you know, nothing. Or...
Well, during a red flag, you know, the teams will have a chance to look at data with the driver. They'll be like, hey, what do you want to do here for the last run? Like, let's put in something that we can get a read on before tomorrow. And that's, you know, that's important for these teams. Every lap is important. Every change is important to make and get a read on.
Yeah, and I suppose you're right. That there was a long enough for you to talk to the engineer, talk to the team, get a scenario on. Okay, let's do this.
But guess what's happening? All those tires are cooling down because everyone wanted to get in line, and some of them got in line at the right time, and some of them didn't.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Here we go then.
That was real bad. Okay, here we go, guys.
And of course, lots of folks in that line are going to want to sit there and give themselves a piece of open racetrack out in front.
Racing is a very selfish business when you're out there.
Don't drop that phone.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't drop the phone. That's get your picture, bro. As it stands, with 5 minutes to go, Lando Norris, the championship leader by 24 points, did a 1:33.602 and leads the way ahead of Mercedes, Kimi Antonelli and Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari.
Quite a mix-up in the top five there. You got Nico Hulkenberg and Isaac Hadjar there.
Good to see the Racing Bulls, both of them up there, 5th and 6th. And you have to start looking at Oscar Piastri in 14th place and Lando out front. I know it's early days, but that's not where Oscar wants to be.
Yeah, they're going to try to time this perfectly here if they are going to go out and make another run, and just wait to see where the gaps have actually solidified on track. And that's, you know, if you don't get in line early enough, it is sometimes smarter to wait, because all these teams have the, you know, have the cars on the map. They can figure out what not even on the racetrack.
I feel like he's on that.
I thought you got home there. He says he's got no gears.
Is he valet somewhere?
I think so. He's parking congestion, which is a useful thing to be if you're off. How has he got behind the barrier, I wonder? Oh, there it is, yeah, there's the gap.
Smart, honestly, though, because it does keep the session going.
Very smart, yeah. He's done a good job there.
Very generous of him.
Yeah.
But to your point about everybody getting out there with a different reason to figure something out. A driver in the garage, if you want to for qualifying, like we saw Oscar Piastri there waiting for the signal to go, that allows the team to have a plan B in case they need to go out, because you're going to want to be the last driver on track. what the engineers will do is back time for when the session will end. And send your man out with the length of time on track you think he's going to need to get his tires ready to go. And when it all works, it's a thing of beauty.
Absolutely. But there are a lot of other outside factors. Something that you hope they wouldn't do. Right.
And we have another red flag.
I assume this week for Charles.
Whoa.
Just trying to enter a little bit faster on the car.
Absolutely. You can just cut that little lurch down to a fraction.
Red flag. See him waving it? Gotta go back in.
Short stinted sessions here at the end with the red flag and everyone going out at the same time. It's, you know,
Yeah. It's a pretty radical pace to the end of pre-practice 2, I would hazard a guess. And it is a mixed bag at the top of the times. Last year's winner, only 7th quickest.
5 different teams in the top 5.
Yeah.
Piastri will obviously be looking for a little bit more pace tomorrow, and I'm sure he didn't get a fully, you know, justifiable lap in today, but be interesting to see how that goes through tomorrow.
Yeah, a bit frustrating really in this case. Yeah, just he timed it right, but didn't expect a second red flag.
Exactly.
So, Connor, anything stand out to you? I know it's been a topsy-turvy second session, but any surprises?
Honestly, I think right now we don't really know what everyone's got. I think there are a lot of cars about to go out and try to continue to improve their lap times. I think we've seen a couple teams like Williams who have demonstrated a lot of speed.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't quite get to do their fastest laps possible. It's going to be really interesting tomorrow. I think we have a lot of questions to have answered, and there's one more practice session to get all those things, you know, sorted out for when it comes time to qualify.
Well, there's the stricken Ferrari. He was on his way to the Venetian because the signpost told me. But he did a good job of getting out of harm's way. But there you see him, just by the sphere.
Oh yeah, this sounds bad.
My mic is on. Yes. Can you not hear me?
It didn't sound like everything was engaging quite properly as he left the pit box.
Well, and he came on the radio when he stopped saying, I couldn't find any gears.
That's so frustrating as a driver as well. Especially when you're trying to get one final quick lap.
Yeah.
Well, as we often say in these situations, better today than Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, a rather relaxed looking World Championship leader.
There's a lot going on here.
But then he should be fastest man of the day. And they'll put that car to bed. Isaac Hadjar and Liam Lawson. Lawson with his traditional hair flick, making sure that's all in order.
You guys want to stick around? I'll show you a little bit of...
But a good session, a very good session. I think you can see there's a spring in the step. Not the same for this man. he had all sorts of people in his way. Go on.
Well, I was thinking about, as we saw Isaac Hadjar walk through the shot, shaking his head and looking very somber, I thought he's in line to become the next Eeyore of Formula One. Everything's lousy unless it's great. So here's a look at what we have. Once again, Lando Norris leads the way. Kimi Antonelli in the first of the Mercedes, then Charles Leclerc, who brought the session to a red flag closing. Nico Hülkenberg, big boost for Sauber. Then Isaac Hadjar, Liam Lawson, his teammate, George Russell and Alexander Albon, Max Verstappen, and Lewis Hamilton. Next 10, Lance Stroll, Pierre Gasly, Carlos Sainz in the Williams, Oscar Piastri, Yuki Tsunoda, Franco Colapinto. We didn't see much of him in this session. Oliver Behrman, Fernando Alonso, Esteban Ocon, and Gabriel Bortoleto. And with that, we'll step away and go down to Lorette.
Hearing a dry track. It's trying really hard to dry right now. I'm Lorette Nichols, standing next to Sabra Cook. And let's talk about, of course, the storyline has been McLaren, but let's talk a little bit about Ferrari. I'm hoping that the fastest driver in FP1, which was Charles Leclerc, we unfortunately saw him have a gearbox issue, but what were your takeaways from that practice session?
Well, when it's concerning Ferrari, I really do hope that Charles can actually get his first win this season, because he is the highest finishing driver in the championship right now that doesn't have a win. Hamilton, just, top 10 with that. It was a mixed session with FP2 though, because not everybody got their soft tire running, so it's a little tricky to really predict on where they're going to end up at.
Yeah, of course, and we see Lewis Hamilton in this replay, just hammering it down this Las Vegas Grand Prix track and having a close call, and Charles Leclerc just really seeming to struggle with this track. Is it setup? Is it grip? What do you think is happening out here?
Well, it's a super tricky track for everybody right now. It's really cold, obviously lowest grip that they're going to have this season. So everybody's struggling. It's just part of it. And I think traditionally Ferrari is pretty good at low downforce tracks. So I think we'll see them perform well, hopefully come qualifying time, but it's still early to see.
Yeah, a little bit early to see. Well, as a race car driver and an engineer, if you put your engineer hat on, watching Ferrari, what are some of the changes that you would suggest to the team from FP? Oh, did I just put you on the spot? From FP2 to FP3 tomorrow?
Well, it's a tough question because I didn't really get to see them do their soft tire run in FP2. So if I had to say, I'm sure that they could probably be a little more aggressive with lowering the ride heights on the car, just seeing if they can maximize that. Obviously, lowest drag as possible with all the long straights, but I'm sure they're already on top of that. I don't need to tell them how to do their jobs.
Of course not, of course not. Well, someone that we have that is hanging around that is also a race car driver. She is an Aston Martin ambassador, and we're so excited to chat with her. Jessica Hawkins, if you will step on in here. Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Hawkins right here. So your guys, Lance Stroll in that practice session was 11. So I was wondering if, as a Canadian, maybe this cold weather could benefit him a little bit in this Las Vegas Grand Prix.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, also the Brits, you could say the same thing about them, but yeah, I mean, I think it will benefit us as a team, but I think it will also benefit the other teams as well. So actually it won't end up being an advantage. But we all know that these cars, they run better in slightly cooler conditions in terms of the engine, more cold air getting into them. So yeah, but it's not just an advantage for us.
Well, I wanted your opinion too. What have you seen about the track conditions? What's your takeaway?
Well, I mean, I think that the weather is changing very often. We're getting some rain clouds pop out of nowhere, so I think it could be the potential tomorrow. At the moment, I think I just looked and it's not saying it, but they are popping out, so who knows?
Yeah, it's tricky. There's a lot of really tricky things. out there. What are your expectations for your two drivers?
I think that this type of circuit isn't one that we've gone at particularly well at this season. We're not particularly efficient in the straight, but having said that, anything can happen. This is Vegas. The weather could play into our hands. Anything can happen, as I say. So we're not ruling anything out. It's really important for us to keep that gap to the Constructors' Championship, to the few behind. So for us, it's really about executing a perfect weekend. And if we can do everything there, hopefully the fortune falls into our hands and we'll be okay.
Fortune hopefully is falling right into your favor. Fingers crossed with that. Jess Hawkins, thank you so much for joining us. Saber Cook, ladies and gentlemen, there is more action coming up. We have F1 Academy qualifying in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere.
So, who's driving tonight then?
Who's the best driver?
Guess who's driving?
Guess who's driving?
Engage your core.
Okay, Peloton. Turn up the volume.
Roll up and refuel with the Craveables value menu at 7-Eleven. Roll up and refuel with the Craveables value menu at 7-Eleven.
Here, your room is more than just a room. It's your retreat, with plenty of space for everyone. Until you celebrate family traditions.
Being very careful because these steps are a little bit wet.
break it down for you guys and play some blues. Is that cool?
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. restrooms. They have them cordoned off for men and women. There's washing sinks for your hands. And there's tons of bathrooms outside here, and they're actually pretty clean, which is nice for a big event. So this area that I was sitting in was the Heineken silver area, and there's a Hello Kitty section, there's a section by Norman, there's tons and tons of grandstands, Bellagio, Caesar's Palace.
All of those bags of chips. You guys are welcome. Come check out this Doritos experience, the official chips of Formula One out here in East Herman. There's not many times in this role that I'm speechless, and this might be one of them. That was incredible. Now I want to go jump in.
9:23 p.m. Ralph Closet. You guys will look at the track from this side.
As long as everybody's having fun out there, but we are going to check out that Dorito convention. Fans, we've got F1 Academy qualifying coming up, but there's plenty more action to check out.
Yes, a lot of things to keep you guys occupied. Again, this is just day 1 of 3, but we do have to focus up. We got to talk about why we're here, and then just get lane. Guys, what's going on?
go under this tunnel. I walked under here earlier looking for my section. It's kind of cool. Let me show you guys how it looks. Under the tunnel or else the stream will drop. Sorry about that. We'll just look at the track from a different stand because signal's getting weak. Sorry guys, I wanted to take you across, but I can't go under that tunnel or we'll drop the stream.
Once again, the track goes hot here in Las Vegas, site of the 2025 Formula One Heineken Las Vegas Grand Prix. Bob Varsha and Jonathan Green with you once again, joined by
We're gonna have another
Sabre
race
Cook.
here. So we got lucky. Let's go.
The track, you know, oddly enough, the track has not changed since we were last on it, 20 minutes ago. 3.8 miles around, 17 turns. Drivers love it. It's a great challenge for car and driver. And the boys have had their crack at it. Now it's time for the second. Oh, no, we're qualifying now, are we not? Yes, okay.
It's go time.
Yes.
It is go time, yeah.
And as I meant to say earlier, well, in fact, I did. I must put my hand in the air. Qualifying is incredibly important in this series because the results of this session will determine the starting grid for the first of two races for this series, with the exception of reversing the top 8. In other words, the fastest qualifier will start 8th in the first race. The second race will be determined purely on qualifying times set down earlier.
So, Sabre, if you were Dorian Pan or Maya Wu, how would you play this, knowing what Bob's just said? I mean, what's the mentality? You know it's a reverse grid, but you want the pole. You can get a point for the pole.
Yeah, but you always want to start in the front for the race that has the most points. So
Okay.
no matter what, you're always going to try and go the fastest, do the best you can, no
Yeah.
matter the situation.
Sure. I suppose your mind might change if you were 7th, you know, like, oh, okay, I'll stick here. You know, I'm fine here. But of course, you don't want to sit there waiting for somebody else to ellipse that and then push you out of the top 8, and then you're definitely going to start 9th.
Yeah, I feel like trying to play that sort of game as a driver, it's a little bit of a wasted brain space. It's always just like, let's maximize this present moment, this car, this tire, this track, and just do the best you possibly can on your single lap performance.
Yeah, you were talking about Maya being a very serious contender. I saw her in the paddock between practice, and boy, she's all business, isn't she?
Oh yeah.
I was sort of trying, because I was trying to talk to whoever I could talk to, and she was focused. She's like, that's the car I love, a real Noble's car with the beam run. Look at that, isn't that great?
Reminds me of the Ricky Bobby.
Yes, yeah. See the cougar in the back. Yes, that's a good parallel.
Good throwback.
Yeah, I love it.
There is no place like Las Vegas.
No. I honestly, when they announced the concept a few years ago, I was like, no way. And we remember, back in the 80s, they had two races, 81 and 82, in Caesar's Palace parking lot, literally.
Like the go-kart races.
Yep, but it was Formula One.
Well, yeah, there's a story behind that. And I listened to an interview with the guy who came up with the idea, let's do this. So the original Las Vegas Grand Prix circuit was an extensive thing. It was well done. I think that although they're flat as a pancake, but it would be interesting, like the track we have now down the strip. But when it turned out they named it the Caesar's Palace Grand Prix, which of course went straight up the nose of every other casino.
Yes.
They said, well, if you're going to take all the credit, we're not going to support the race. So they actually
kiboshed it a bit.
Well, yeah, they revoked the lease on the land, some of the land that was used to create the racetrack. So they had to create a track in a much more confined space, which led to the parking lot show. And yeah, it was not well received. Plus it was also hot and dusty and everything else. And David Hobbs won the Trans Am race, which made everybody jealous.
You guys a different vantage point for this session here, so
a long way to see how it looks, but yeah, it was great. I think we have great momentum with the last 5 races, and also the test in Bahrain was really positive. So yeah, really confident, really good with the team, and want to finish the job and try to replicate what we've been doing in the last race. Fighting for the title now doesn't change what we've been doing the whole season. We've been working hard the whole time, and just going through the same mentality as we've had since Montreal. Give it all and take every opportunity to make sure we want having to catch up in the points. So yeah, we still have to do the same job that we've been doing and not really try anything different, because we know what we've been doing has been working. So yeah, just try to stay calm and
yes, I did.
9 whole points. My needs to close on Dorian Pan, the series leader, and she has 2 races, 40 minutes plus 30 minutes plus 1 lap to do it here in Las Vegas.
See the car number 12 coming into your shot right now. That is the 16-year-old Dane, Alba Larsen. I had a quick chat with her and sort of asked her about the track conditions. She said, yeah, it takes some time to get some temperature into the tires. She likes the track. And I said, what's the goal? She goes, I've qualified in the top 3. I want my first podium. That's what I want to finish the season on. And she said, I've been so close many times, and I just feel that's how I want to finish the season. And that makes a lot of sense.
I think she's been really strong this season.
Yeah.
Really impressive. And I hope she does get that podium this weekend. That would be a perfect way to end her season.
Well, there's a nice little bit of trivia about her. She's in good stead. She comes from the same village in Denmark, or the same city, which is Roskilde, which produced a guy called Jan Magnussen and a man called Kevin Magnussen. So,
not bad company.
I say it all the time, watching Danish drivers for such a small country.
They do amazing.
To produce so many world-class racing drivers.
And soccer players. They've got some good talent there. Good to see Chloe Chambers out there in the Red Bull Ford entry. She, of course, caused the red flag. Never got to talk to her, unfortunately, about what happened, but I'm pretty sure that it would have been given as a mechanical suspension problem, or whether she actually did involve the curb or the curbage in that, we'll never know. But she's out and around, but did cause the red flag, but was in the top 3 at the time, so didn't lose anything.
I don't know if we made it clear during the earlier session, of practice that although the Formula One teams each have at least one driver that they support in the field, the cars, though they look like small versions of their Formula One family, they are not. They are Tatu's chassis.
Entertainment, and it's a great atmosphere. You know, I'm 19, so can't do anything in the US, but I'm
Speed, you know that's a block. Leia Block, of course, the daughter of Kenny Block. Kenny Block, sorry, sadly no longer with us, but well known, the legend for the Gymkhanas and the rally cross. She's had a background in that too. She may go back to it one day, but she's certainly had a really stunning entry because she's only really been doing single seaters a season or so. She's had a win this season. Pretty impressive how she's got to grips with it.
Yeah, it's no easy feat to go from rally to it's a big job. But it's great to see her, especially adapt, I'm sure, to these cold, slippery conditions. It's probably a little more at home for her with the rally stuff. And it's cool that she gets to race kind of close to home.
Oh. Rachel keeps on blocking. It's crazy and expletive, it sounds like. Came in there. We're looking at Ella Lloyd, the Brit who represents McLaren, and hence the papaya colours. She's in the fight for the rookie title with her fellow countryman, Palmowski. So, Alicia Palmowski, looking forward to that little battle that rages on. Ella's got the best of it, certainly on the stats so far. But Palmowski's kept it alive, if you will, to the finale. And of course, that means if they are chasing the rookie, the likelihood is they'll go for that second year. At the moment, you can race 2 years in the Formula One Academy, but they are extending that. We spoke earlier about that to in 2027 to the possibility, depending on how they feel about the potential of the driver, to do a third season if they feel that there is, the potential to perhaps go on and win the title and gain the experience needed. And I think that's a sensible thing.
But to finish my point, these cars are not maintained by the Formula One teams. They are part of the wider business, if you like, of motorsports. They prepare cars for other series, for other drivers, and they're simply charged with putting a car out there where a young talent who represents one of the big Formula One teams.
Yeah, I also think you've got top teams like ART and High-Tech involved. And that's got to be good for all the girls because they're getting through those teams, they're getting opportunities in F4, in Italian F4, possibly GP3, which is where those teams have a presence. So if the team manager for Prima or for ART sees the potential to place them onto the next level, it's an easy passage rather than the individual having to struggle to find them on their own.
Absolutely. And as a driver, building that consistency within a team that you trust and having that team around you that you know that has your back and they know what to do, how to extract the best from you as a driver is incredibly important.
And how important, I mean, I'm guessing it's just the same as Formula One, that relationship with your engineer. I know there is not the amount of data and the amount of stuff that even you and your Porsche Carrera Cup in North America would have to deal with, but that relationship, and given where you are in your career, where you really are a sponge to those that know more, it's really important, isn't it? You keep that consistency.
Absolutely. Having the same engineer, and you just build that working relationship. And so hopefully, by these girls being with the teams that are in other championships, that they can build those relationships that will help them exceed forward into other things later on.
Whew, a little bit close there. We were on board with my word, but the car in front of her almost touched the barrier for a second, and that it was Alba Larson, who I was talking about a moment ago.
We're gonna get a good draft down here. Good sector time, hopefully.
Oh, now they're side by side. Not a great strategy. I don't think you want to stay in that tow for as long as you can. And off you go. I was running down the list of teams providing the vehicles here. One of them was ART Grand Prix. If that been in sport long, in their Formula 2 program, GP2 as it was known then, they produced a couple of decent drivers, Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton.
And of course, High-Tech, very much connected to the Alpine team.
Well, High-Tech's going to have a celebrity driver.
Yes, they are.
One Colton Herta of IndyCar fame, as he embarks on the one part of his career with Cadillac.
You know, what's happened to Maya Wu here? She's behind Larson. A little bit too close, perhaps, but this is a replay.
They're teammates, by the way, so they might be doing the whole qualifying, let's get a draft together.
There you go.
Yeah.
Glad you're here. Yeah, I think that's exactly what they were doing, because there was no incident. You see a replay expecting some sort of incident, but...
Well, hopefully no teammate incidents.
Yes. Not needed.
We're on the last racing weekend of the year for these cars, so, but, you know. It is a black art using the aerodynamic tow.
Separate as another factor in this, how important was it to see the world as a racing driver and be under the pressures that you would be if you were international racing all the time? Because it is different than racing just in North America. How was that experience of literally having to learn cultures, learn ways and means, getting there and all the rest of it? Because that's a growing experience too, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It just, it matures you as an individual.
Quickly.
And in Europe, racing is much more a way of life. It's part of the culture. Versus here in the US, it's maybe not our biggest sport yet, but it was, it just really seasons you. It lets you work with some really great individual fields. And it makes you grow faster and improve faster and just become a better driver.
Well, a little deja vu here. Earlier session, the top two contenders for the championship.
1 and 2 again.
And 1 and 2. Right now, they're doing so again.
Asma to the game and a half for Chloe Chambers in 5th. That's Maya Wu. That's coming to the pit lane.
See if she's switching to a second set of new tires. I believe they do 2 new sets of help.
Susie Wolf, that's Susie Wolf, excuse me, the managing director at the Academy, just in the box there.
Wife of Toto Wolff, who runs the Mercedes team.
People forget, she was a pretty handy racing driver herself.
I was just about to say that, yeah. She did lots of testing in Formula 1 machinery.
To be honest, as somebody who has pushed the boundaries forward as part of what we were talking about earlier, Sabra, the growth of women in motorsport, Susie's played a huge part.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. She's a really inspirational, very mature, classy role model for girls. She's the perfect person to be in the position with F1 Academy, and it's been instrumental for the success of the Academy to have her support and her guidance.
And you do respect somebody who's been through what you're going through and can be empathetic and say, yeah, I know that's hard, and I know that took me a long time to learn, etc., etc., and immediately you get that rapport going, don't you?
Absolutely.
Well, Susie would tell you, as she told me once over dinner in Monaco, is she sorry she didn't win a Formula 1 World Championship? Sure, anybody would want to do that. But she says, I can be content with what I did do in racing if it helps move the ball down the field, so to speak, for these young female drivers.
Yeah. I'm just so pleased, having been around the W Series and now the Academy, to see such blue chip names that are, yes, like you see this Aston Martin car with the regular sponsors for Aston Martin, but there's others like Charlotte Tilbury and Amex and Lego and so on. Hello Kitty's got a big activation here this weekend, but hey, fun as it sounds, these are real things that people follow and have worldwide knowledge of, and that's only going to help the growth of the sport.
Tom Hausman for Prima Racing moves up into 3rd as Chloe Chambers takes over the top spot with a 2:07.8. It's good.
Yeah, very good.
Tina looked like she had some instability there on the brake zones, so we'll see if she ends up using her only driver tool that they have in these cars is the brake bias. That's the only thing they can actively change.
Yeah, and I'll tell you who I'm impressed with, the Tag Heuer driver, the 18-year-old Rachel Robertson from Scotland, up there in 6th position. This is her debut. She's coming in for an injured driver, and very impressive indeed. So she's been doing the Radical Cup, where she finished 3rd in the championship with podium finishes at Brands Hatch and Stetterton, Silverstone and Donington, and was also the 9th British driver to race in the Academy Series. So keep an eye out for her first weekend.
Yeah, keep in mind also, this is a very young series.
Yeah.
And I mean, the longest career in this championship is something like 35 races. It's not.
It is 35, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's Dorian Pan who's got 35 races under her belt. Yeah.
Compared to Lando's 150
Yeah.
this weekend.
Well, the championship's only 3 years old.
Yeah. Or Fernando's 424, I guess.
So Chambers on a quick one. She's gone quickest in the 2nd sector, and we're also watching, obviously, on board with Dorian Pan, the French driver, getting the fastest first split. And does go quickest.
Maya Wolin is currently listed 5th on the timing sheet, but she's also listed as out of the session.
Oh, she's on an out lap, yeah.
It's really interesting how much the track evolution is continuing to progress.
Well, I thought your point earlier that usually they don't go out when they're with Formula One first. They usually go after Formula One.
They usually go before
Formula One. I'll get it right in a minute. But whereas here, this weekend, they're not. So they're going to get a bit more rubber down than usual. 2 sessions of Formula One in the bag, or at least most of P2.
Yeah, mostly.
Mostly.
These Pirelli tires must take a few laps to hit their peak, because I'm shocked that they're still pushing hard. Usually, like, there's such a peak on the tires to be able to push this many laps in a row, and still with the track evolution.
Well, maybe the cooler temperatures is helping as well. But yeah, good point. I don't know if these tires. I know that in some of the Freca series that use Pirelli. Talking to some of the drivers, they say that what you can do is they peak at about 4 laps, you get 2 laps, but if you do a cool down lap and you do it well, then there's another lap to be had maybe. So in other words, they have a good longevity. I don't know if that's true of these particular tires, but certainly in Freca, in Pirelli, they do. That's what some of the drivers have told me. So Chambers on a quick one. She's trying to beat Pan's 2:07.3, and she's just gone fastest in the first 2 sectors. So this is a good lap by the American from New York. Chloe Chambers just at the background there, behind Hausman, who's also putting in a quick lap. They're all starting to get some good laps in. Let's see Chambers come across the line. She was 0.154 off the pole provisionally. Does go quickest. Yes. Talk about an amazing story. Chambers has got that too. She was adopted from China. She's got a Texas father and an English mother.
And a very weird accent.
Yes. Yeah. She's a great girl and a lot of fun. She's got a great smile, good laugh, and she enjoys what she does. She's confident about what she does, and has the accolade of becoming the first ever female to win an international Freca race.
I think this might be Hausman's best qualifying if she can stay in the top 3. I think her best so far is 5th.
Impressive. Well, and lest we forget, each and every one of them has never seen the place.
Right.
we were sort of wondering how much data or information they could get off Formula One teams, because they are all connected. Do they take that opportunity to knock on the door and say, can I speak to one of your engineers or strategists or whatever to find out?
Can I use your sim for about 6 hours?
Mostly what I'm thinking.
Or even just get on, people like George Russell will come out and support them, Dorian. And I saw that in Miami. So yeah, I know Lewis is very generous with his time when it comes to the academy. So yeah, I would definitely, if I were Maya, be knocking on Lewis's door and said, hey, what do you do at turn 50?
And he would probably tell her. I've seen Lewis hanging around their garage a lot.
Yeah, he's a very generous guy. It's not as well known as you might think. You see Lewis in a flash going on his moped somewhere or on his little scooter. So he doesn't hang about a bit, but he does the important stuff. So an American leads the way. Great news for the fans out there. Hope you're enjoying this. But this is the girl that's got it all on her shoulders. She leads the championship by 9 points. She was touted as the favourite at the start of the season, and she hasn't let up since that start. But she's had a lot of pressure from others, including Chambers, including Leia Block, and many others. It's been a big season. Whoa. Oops.
Well,
Brazilian
Alicia Palmowski, who is a contender for the rookie title, has moved up to third
place. Yeah, really impressive. Very unusual all black lid.
Helmets.
That's what I was just thinking. That I didn't notice that helmet. She did change helmets.
She changed helmets. I wonder.
Maybe.
Oh, wait. Oh, was it a different car? That was very strange.
That was weird, wasn't it? She had. I was just about to mention that I don't often see a completely black helmet with no sponsorship on, and there she goes.
James Hunt.
Okay. True. Knowledge. Before you were born, Sabra. James Hunt.
A little before my time.
Yeah.
I hear stories.
Yeah, yeah. You wouldn't miss out on any James Hunt stories. Yeah, they're fast and furious.
You can go see the movie.
Yes, you can. Now, Dorian trying to reply to Chambers 2071 as the clock ticks down to 8 minutes. It's a do-or-die situation in many ways at this stage in a qualifying session because, you've got 8 minutes on the clock, so there's no desperados, but you never know, because somebody could easily lock up, like you just heard there, and, hit a barrier and bring out a red flag and stop your progress. So you want to get that lap in and make sure you put your benchmark in. Now we've got the two contenders literally on fast laps. Wu just behind Pang at the moment as Dorian finishes her lap and doesn't improve. We were trying to work it out. What do you reckon top speed for down the back straight for one of these?
I think they were predicting 158 miles an hour on the straight, and it seems like it's a very long straight, and even longer in these F4 cars.
Yeah, right. You go 150 miles an hour. It's about a 2-mile backstretch, I think. No, it couldn't be that. It must be, it's longer than a mile, though.
Yeah.
And that can take a while.
Not a perfect first sector for Maya in the Ferrari sponsored Academy car. You were predicting rain at 10 o'clock, which is literally as the checkered flag drops here. So let's hope that is true. We get a clean finish to this.
I think they're maybe past the peak of the tire at this point.
Okay, Dori, we need a sector 3, and we need a call for sector 3.
Kind of underdrove the potential of the tires before.
Okay, well, and you've just had your answer from on the radio there, because they're now looking for tows because they know they can't do it on their own. So they're saying, try and get a tow in sector 3. That's hard to do, isn't it? Unless you've planned it.
Yeah, you've got to work with your teammates here. I know they're obviously all the sponsors are different on the cars, but they are still racing within their own team. So hopefully they can work together here.
But 3.8 miles, trying to find your teammate and coordinate it.
Well, hopefully the engineers should be on the radio saying, hey, this is where your teammate's at, maybe slow down, get together, try again.
Yeah, and here's your tow factor. Palmowski in the tow there of the Aston Martin Academy car.
They are not teammates, so we'll see how this shakes out.
Yeah.
She's maintaining pretty much the perfect distance right here.
Yeah. Get that tail, yeah. Into turn one. Yeah, and you can see, you were mentioning how the rubbering up of those two sessions for Formula One. You saw it there into turn one, a lot of rubber down from obviously both braking and the amount of times they've been over that part of the circuit and the graining and so forth. It's just adding to a bit more grip, which is always helpful.
But it'll reset tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that we might get some more overnight rain.
Tomorrow there's definitely a higher percentage of rain, so they need to be prepared that maybe they might race their reverse grid race in the wet.
Yeah, don't forget 2 races to decide the championship. That's the finale here, but the first time the Academy have been here. America's still leading the way with Chloe Chambers.
Looks like she found another toe.
Yep.
This one a little bit different in that
we're gonna get a speed trap here, yeah.
Between the car ahead and the car behind. The car behind is faster.
Oh, we weren't far off, 151.
That was very well timed by the two teammates really working together. That's great teamwork.
Yeah, and if you study these things, if you want to know what we mean when we say getting a tow, you can actually hear, when somebody's in the tow, you can actually hear the note of the engine just rise slightly. And that tells you that they're in the tow, they're just getting maybe 5, 6, 7 more horsepower.
P2.
Oh, yes.
The tow worked.
The tow did work. Important that she got that. She was given it on the radio to try and find it, and she's done just that. And that looks like Chambers is trying to do the same now as she chases down the Kick Sauber sponsored car.
Three and a half minutes to go.
And if you're wondering why the Red Bull car has Ford as a sponsor, well, that's because they've been looking for the future, because Ford will be with Red Bull next year. Now, an incident involving 22, that's Nobles, and 20, that's Ella Lloyd, noted and for impeding. Interesting. So we'll see if anything comes of that. Ooh.
How did she miss it?
Big save! Wow. She was all out of shape there. You could hear it, couldn't you?
Yeah, she looked to be taking in too much speed, and yet somehow she got the car turned.
Good on her. Surprised to see Ella Lloyd is slowed down as 12th at the moment.
Maybe she's trying to get the tires cool, do another push lap. She's got time for probably one more.
Yeah. Well, with 2 minutes to go, it really is now all or nothing.
Maya's doing exactly what she needs to do, qualifying ahead of Dorian.
Yeah.
Hopefully going to get as maximum points coming up in the reverse grid race, and we'll see if she can close that gap.
Well, the other thing is that there is a point for pole, and Chloe Chambers only 2 points, remember, between her in her battle for third place in the championship. Speed trap Palmowski, let's see what she does, the English driver. And just 149, so just a couple of miles an hour slower than Maya. Less than 2 minutes to go then, so it's really now or never in terms of qualifying. This will decide the grid, but then we'll reverse it. And possibly some rain, so we've got plenty to look forward to.
All the excitement.
Well, she's using all the track, I'll give her that, but that was the moment. Boy, she saved that. That could have been a red flag easily. If the back end had slipped out there, because she was on the dirt, wasn't she? She was on the dust.
Yeah, there were so many elements of that. Number one, carrying speed into the corner. Two, getting the car slowed down without locking up any wheels. And number three, keeping it off the wall.
Yeah, very impressive. And I love to see that she was absolutely unfazed by it. The next two corners, totally maximum push.
Right. Good on you.
Well, this is impressive by the American Chloe Chambers.
10 seconds to go.
It's great to see from Chloe. I really hope she's able to qualify on pole here in the U.S. It'd be fitting, I feel, to have an American on pole here in Vegas.
Only scored 10 points in 4 races since winning in Montreal. So she's due a good result. She caused a red flag earlier in the first session, but bounced back and looks as though she's going to take the pole because there's a yellow flag there in Sector 1.
Yeah, the checkers has already flown. If you start a push lap before the checkers fly, it will count, even though the checkers will fly while you're en route.
Well, Dorian Pan's in a good position here then, because she's behind the 78, and we'll get a little tow there from Hausman.
2 teammates, 2 Prima teammates. We'll see if it paid off.
I don't think it's going to, is it? No, unfortunately not. And it will be Chloe Chambers, the American, who takes the pole position here at another American race, and she will be delighted with that, especially after the start to the day she had.
Looks like Dorian was able to get ahead of Maya though, so that's critical for the championship.
Yeah.
They do start right beside each other though, right next to each other.
Good race.
She was a double podium finisher in Miami, Chloe Chambers, so she obviously likes racing at home.
Well, it's been a great first day of this 22nd Formula One weekend of the year. Great story to tell about here at the F1 Academy. And we'll have another full day tomorrow with, it must be said, a chance of rain.
Engineers happy there.
Yeah, well they should be.
Sure they are.
We didn't actually hear the radio message, but there was congratulator on yet another pole for Chloe Chambers.
And we saw some fine driving. I mean, using the aero toe, getting everything out of the corners.
The whole Campos team is excited.
Yeah, it's good. Good team. Spanish-based.
It's the life of a junior series driver. You're weaving your way amongst all the headliners, equipment.
Yeah.
Drive to the back of the paddock area.
Well, they're pride of place this weekend. They're very close to the paddock, and they're in the mix, aren't they? Usually you set out the back somewhere in a Formula One race because there isn't room, but giving them a real chance. And there was a lot of people watching the cars, being prepared this morning when I got in. So.
And their paddock is much more accessible than the Formula One paddock is, so it's great for fans.
Passed there first. Results of qualifying. Chloe Chambers of the United States is first, followed by Alicia Palmowski and Alba Larson. Then Dorian Pan and Maya Wong, the 2 title contenders. Tina Hausman, Felbermeyer, Gatterman, Ferreira, and Lloyd, your top 10. And want to be with us tomorrow for the first of 2 races for these aspiring championship drivers. Join Sicone, Black, Nobles, Robertson, Crone, Chong, Westcott, and Havrada. The rest of the finishers. So as I said, a good day today. Be sure to join us tomorrow, though, as we'll ratchet up the intensity with practice 3 and qualify for the Formula One drivers and the F1 Academy in action. See you then.
Focus on strict control grips.
Okay, Peloton. Turn up the volume.
There's fun activities to do while you're here. This place is super busy during peak times, so it's really fun if you do busy all weekend.
Honestly, it's
for 2 more days of incredible action coming up. But on behalf of myself, Katie, and the rest of Track TV, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. Let's stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Don, I'm speaking into the mic. I don't think you can hear me just because of all the noise around me. Thank you guys all for coming. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. I'm going to catch my ride. And you guys have a safe night. Thank you so much for joining me.
To the main event under the bright lights. This is the Las Vegas Grand Prix. George Russell wins the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Max Verstappen is a four-time world champion. Feel the incredible excitement. Marvel at the best. From the start to finish. Feel every moment. Book your Qatar Airways travel packages today.
It's what sets you apart. In the moment of truth.